libraryhistory.com today to learn more.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. Erin Hildebrand is in the studio with us this morning. Suzann Nelson is on the telephone. We're going to hook them both up because they're going to be together like, I don't know, not Burns and Allen. I'm just trying to figure out what comedian group we could put together there, Erin, and I can't find one. You and Suzanne will be unique. Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. Suzanne is an author who does some wonderful children's books, and she's coming to Homer Center. Suzanne, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Thanks so much for having me.
It's good to have you with us. Suzanne right now is in Connecticut where she lives, and Erin, you're right here in the studio.
Yes, I am.
Good to have you with us. So Suzanne, you do these books, and I'm looking at them, and they look like I want to read them.
Well, they should be making you hungry.
Suzanne, anything makes me hungry if you know me. You're coming here to Indiana. Erin, talk about Suzanne and introduce us to her.
Well, as a librarian, we do a Scholastic Book Fair every year, and some of her books have been very popular bestsellers with a lot of our middle school students. So when I was looking for an author visit, I wanted something that kind of spanned a pretty big age range, and Suzanne definitely fit the bill. Her books are so popular even through our high school students and some of our elementary students. So thankfully, when I reached out to her, she was willing to make the trip and to visit our students, and they can't wait, and I can't wait.
Yeah, Suzanne, do you make it to Indiana, Pennsylvania a lot, huh?
I don't actually, but I do have a lot of family in Pennsylvania. So I have family actually very close to Indiana. I have some cousins and an aunt and uncle that live there, and my parents. I have a set of parents that live in Tower City, Pennsylvania, which is farther east. Mm-hmm. But yes, we are a long line of farming families. So Pennsylvania has been a home for many of my family for many years.
I like the description of some of your books as foodie books, foodie novels.
Yes. So that's kind of a phrase that I guess my editors and I coined over the years when we talked about them together, and then it just crossed over into the way I spoke about them on my social media and with my readers. And we like to call them the foodie crush books, the foodie tween romance books, because really each book involves some delicious type of food and a very sweet, innocent introduction to first crushes and first kisses too. There's usually one kiss per book.
That's like a Hallmark movie.
It is. They're very Hallmarky. They're for readers who love sweet, innocent, fun, meet cute type of books with a little bit of food thrown in.
Mm-hmm. That first kiss always comes 1 hour and 58 minutes into the 2-hour movie.
And the first kiss for me usually comes around page 224.
So how did you strike upon the idea of centering these books on food and things and really aiming them at children in this age group?
Well, that was a conversation that I had with my editor right when we were first beginning the series, and I had worked with Scholastic on some books prior to that, which were very different than the foodie books. And my editor, Amy, called me, and she said, how would you feel about writing a book about crushes and cake pops? And I responded with, wow, that sounds fantastic, and it sounds exactly like the kind of book that I would have loved to read at the age that she said the books were geared towards. Their vision of the books would have been geared towards, basically 5th through 7th grade, 8th grade. And so we kind of brainstormed together, and Scholastic actually came up with the title for the very first book. They came up with the title for Cake Pop Crush. And I wrote the book, and it was originally just intended as one book, and we had no idea how it was going to do when it was published. And then about 3 or 4 months after it was published, Amy called me again, and she said, do you want to do a second one? So it's very much a collaborative effort between me and my editors and Scholastic, and we have a lot of fun coming up with the titles of the books and throwing around different plot ideas, and it's really been just a blast working on them.
And Erin, you said that they're very, very popular at Homer Center, huh?
Oh, yes. We sell out of them usually at our book fairs and can't keep them on our shelves. So we ordered lots of extra copies to keep on the shelves in anticipation for the visit.
Okay, so what kind of a schedule have you set up for Suzanne to come to Homer Center this week?
Well, on Thursday night, she will be speaking to the community at large, so anyone at all that would like to come is welcome at 6 o'clock at the elementary library, and she'll talk a little bit about literacy and meet and greet and sign some books and do those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. And then throughout the day on Saturday or on Friday, she'll meet up, starting with our high school book club, doing her adult kind of novel with them, and then head down to our elementary, and she's going to visit with all of our different age groups throughout the day, just talking about the writing process and literacy.
Mm-hmm. Suzanne, do you actually have to sort of go into different modes in your mind when you decide, okay, I'm writing for fifth graders now, and I just finished writing for eighth and ninth graders in that age range? Is it a great shift of thought for you?
Absolutely. That could not be more true. I have two very different writing styles, and Erin mentioned my novel for older kids, which is titled Serendipity's Footsteps. And that novel in particular it's much longer, it's more literary, there's a lot of more sophisticated language in that, there is more sophisticated plotting. And when I write the foodie books, I keep in mind who my readership is, and I keep the plot moving relatively quickly, and the sentences and the vocabulary are a little less complex than in a novel like Serendipity's Footsteps. And depending on who my audience is, it's something that I always keep at the forefront when I'm working on drafts of my novels.
Erin,
absolutely.
Erin, you mentioned the fact that Suzanne is not just a writer, but she helps people learn how to write, and that's going to be a part of what she does this week at Homer Center.
Yeah, we have a lot of kids who, don't get a lot of they get an understanding of how to write in class, but to have somebody who's been successful at it, someone that they can look up to, that they love her novels and can see it, and she can talk to them a little bit about that process and how it works, I think will be very beneficial for the students.
Suzanne, I'm sure that you have the opportunity to speak to writers of all ages, because sometimes we might think, well, you have to reach a certain level of education or writing sophistication before you can start putting things down on paper, but that's not true, is it?
No, it is not. And one of the things that I talk about when I discuss writing with every student is even for me as a writer, I knew that I wanted to be a writer from pretty much the time I began writing, which was, in first and second grade when I first learned to write. I just knew in my soul that was what I wanted to do. But I was by no means a perfect writer straight off the bat, right from birth. I wrote horrible poetry, and I filled spiral notebooks with awful stories full of misspelled words, and I've kept all of them, and so I can go back and look at them and see how far I've come. But, you're not just born instinctively with all of these skills to become a writer. It's a learned craft, and it just takes a lot of practice, and anyone can be a writer. You write a story, you're a writer. You come up with an idea and you put it on paper, you write it. Whether it's misspelled or has, bad punctuation, those are all things that can be fixed. But the idea is yours and you've written it.
Hey, it's interesting because when I was young, I was into drawing and painting and that sort of expression. And my mother saved all of that stuff and gave it to me a few years ago, so I was able to see what it was like to draw and to sort of get that whole concept down as a 6 and 7 year old, and I can see the progression because she saved it all down through the years to where I actually got pretty good at it. But it's the same thing, isn't it, Erin? That whatever that creative outlet is for you, it's not going to be as polished as you would think that it would end up being. And when you start out, you have to have the kind of encouragement that says, don't worry about the quality of it or what you perceive to be the quality of it. It's the fact that you're doing it that's going to help you develop and learn to love it.
That's so true. And I was fortunate enough to have wonderful teachers that I encountered throughout my elementary, middle school, and high school years that were very encouraging, even from, 5th, 6th grade on all the way up through 12th. And I still have some of the notes that they wrote to me from those periods of my life where they told me that they saw something in my writing that was unique, and they encouraged me to continue it. And through the years, I've often gone back to those and been so grateful for their words of encouragement, because they really did make an impact on me and give me the courage to continue when I wasn't sure what my abilities would end up being.
And by the way, that whole idea doesn't necessarily extend to woodshop, because you could lose a finger that way.
That is true.
Erin, when Suzanne comes to town, I'm sure that you're going to have a lot to say to her and to learn from her along with your students. What are some of the things that you want her to learn about what happens here at Homer Center?
I just think Homer Center is just such a unique place. We have some great kids, we have great faculty and staff, and I hope she gets to just experience that Wildcat feel and that Wildcat welcome, and just get to feel part of our community for just a little bit.
It's going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. All right. So the event that you mentioned on Thursday, where anybody can come, adults and students as well. How do we do that?
So anyone who would like to come, it doesn't even have to be the Homer Center community. Anyone in the area is welcome at 6 o'clock at the elementary library. If you show up, we'll welcome you in. If you have questions, it'll be posted on the Homer Center Facebook page and things like that with my contact information if anybody needs any more details.
Yeah. And Suzanne, I'm sure you're looking forward to coming and visiting with everybody, huh?
I am. It's going to be so great, and I can't wait to interact with the students. And I love reading as much as I love writing, so I'm very excited to share my love of reading with them as well, and just talk to them about our shared love of books, because I think that's so important and essential to every human being.
And Suzanne, you're going to be happy to know that in honor of your coming, we turned up the thermostat. It's actually going to be up around 70 degrees.
Oh, well, that's warmer than it is in Ridgefield right now. It's 29 here.
Yeah, it's something like that here right now, too. And we got, what we get, 6 inches of snow over the weekend on Saturday. So, yeah, just for you, we're turning it up.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to some sunshine and some warmth.
Well, we can guarantee the warmth, but not the sunshine. Suzanne, thank you for being with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Erin, thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We're looking forward to it this week with Suzanne. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160.